Hello, everyone. I'm Boichi, a mangaka and YouTuber. I'm incredibly excited to share two amazing pieces of news about Brazil with you. So, in this video, to celebrate the launch of a new manga media outlet in Brazil, I want to share my suggestions on what should be done if manga industries and various manga media outlets begin to emerge in different countries around the world. For 70 years, there hasn't been much change in the Japanese manga market. Since the establishment of the manga magazine and tankobon system, this system has continued for 70 years. This means that Japan also experienced a significant revolution in the 1950s, 70 years ago. Of course, there were other forms of manga market before that, but it was in the 1950s that a revolution took place, creating the current system that has continued until today. And right now, the Japanese manga industry is facing another revolution. And I think this revolution will be even more massive, and if we're wise, we will eventually have to face it. In Korea, remarkably, the manhwa industry has gone through significant transformations roughly every 10 years since the 1970s. This is a very unique case in the comic industry in the world and has been a special experience for me. I've witnessed the collapse and revival of a large-scale manhwa market multiple times in Korea. Through these processes, I've thought deeply and reflected a lot on this. How is a new type of comics market formed? What happens in the early stages, and how can it be successfully developed? One thing I've learned is that when a new type of manga industry emerges, weaknesses from the early stages can sometimes become more pronounced, often hindering the overall development and growth of the industry. So, for a long time, I've been thinking about how the global manga industry could emerge. How can we minimize mistakes and maximize growth in the manga business? I've considered various approaches to this. Despite all my thoughts, as you all know, I have very limited and incomplete ideas. I'm sharing my thoughts and offering advice, but I acknowledge that my thoughts are also often lacking and flawed. So, I would appreciate it if you, the viewers watching this video, keep that in mind as you listen to what I have to say. If there are those who are trying to establish a manga industry in your country, you can disregard the suggestions and advice I'm giving now. That's absolutely fine. You can ignore them. However, if you find some of my ideas interesting, I would appreciate it if you could consider them positively. You are free to disagree or agree with them. These ideas could be both strengths and weaknesses for the manga industry that will emerge in your country in the future. Please keep that in mind while you listen, because what I'm saying is simply the opinion of an individual. Okay, let's start. The first thing I want to emphasize is that the direction of the manga media outlet must be both clear and unequivocal. Specifically, in the digital era, most forms of manga media outlets created in the manga industry are manga webzines. So, what is a manga webzine? Is it a platform? Or is it part of a digital service? Or is it something completely new and different? The direction of this will become clear in the future business. Should we go with Japan's manga style? Or should we go with vertical order, a Korean webtoon style? Or provide even more diverse forms of comics? Or marketing specific reader groups? Should we target a broad range of consumers regardless of age and gender? Should we aim for the global market with various languages, or focus on the domestic market with a single language? Or for both? I think it's best to have a clear direction from the beginning and start with a well-thought-out plan. Among these, are you planning to start to a manga webzine? Or a manga platform? Let's talk about the difference between a webzine and a platform. You're all familiar with Korean webtoons, right? Webtoons emerged in Korea in 2004, but before that, there was a period between 1999 and 2002 when the era of man webzines began in Korea. During that time, various manhwa webzines were released, and many experimental works adapted to the digital environment were introduced. Webzines and platforms are different. As the name suggests, a webzine is a digital service in a magazine format. The format and nature of the medium are derived from magazines. If you look closely, Jump Plus, which is often mentioned by many aspiring manga artists around the world, is not a platform. It is a manga webzine, not a platform. YouTube and Netflix are platforms. Do you now understand the difference between platforms and webzines? They are not magazines. Like all magazines, webzines target a defined market or a specific region where their service is allowed, focusing on a limited group of readers within that area. That's what makes them different from newspapers. Newspapers are information delivery mediums meant to reach all layers of society. However, magazines are focused on specific consumer groups. If their target reader group is boys, it's a shonen magazine. Or if the target is people who like action manga, then it would be a magazine filled with action manga. But platforms are targeting all reader groups within legally permitted and broad regions. To target readers of all ages and genders, they aim to offer and serve a variety of manga or comics from all genres. This is what a platform is. Do you understand what is different between webzines and platforms now? The difference between a webzine and a platform is more significant and distinct than you might think, and it's crucial to clarify this. This difference is huge. And what role do platforms play within a large service? For example, the parent company of LINE Manga is Webtoon Entertainment. The parent company of Webtoon Entertainment is a Korean company called Naver. Therefore, LINE Manga is a manga platform in Japan. In Korea, the Naver Webtoon service is part of Naver's portal service. Hence, the business strategy of Naver Webtoon is inevitably aimed at the success of Naver's portal service. And this can be a significant advantage. So what is that advantage for manga and webtoons? The advantage is that since the manga business is part of a large company, it can receive stable support and protection from the company. Isn't that a tremendous advantage? For example, what if YouTube or Netflix started a manga business? What if they said, manga and webtoon service is one of the essential services on our company? Their manga and webtoon service department could receive substantial support and protection from the company, but on the other hand, they would have to contribute to the success of YouTube or Netflix. That's how it works. So, if we ask why a large service should engage in the manga industry, the answer is, the manga business requires relatively low production costs and does not take up much data. It uses very few network resources. Manga image data requires only a fraction of the resources needed for a single video, which also means it produces less carbon dioxide. These days, carbon dioxide emissions are a significant issue. Manga services generate almost no heat in data centers. That's the advantage too. So, if you discover and utilize this advantage, it would be great. This is how Naver provides webtoon services. One important consideration is why we've only provided manga in such a limited way until now. You can start a manga and comics business in any form, anywhere in your country or beyond. However, my advice is start the business bigger size. Size matters a lot. Saying bigger size means that a manga platform is preferable to a manga webzine. It's better to serve manga as a platform whenever possible. If you start small, you should aim to grow as quickly as possible. Focus on scaling up first. You can think about profit margins later. First, aim to grow in size. There are several reasons why it's good to aim for grow the size. Small manga media that emerge in each country may have a shorter golden time for growth than you might think. That golden time may be much shorter than expected. Of course, you may be able to extend that golden time, but it could be shorter than you think. That's why it's essential to grow before the golden time runs out. The bigger scale is better. And in the end, webzines get absorbed into platforms. While a strong brand might survive independently, it will be absorbed in some way. And the second piece of advice I want to share to those looking to establish manga media in your countries is do not start with a free service. Starting with a free service might seem like an easy idea, but sorry, that's an incredibly naive and complacent thought. And it will come with a heavy cost later. Back in the 1990s, when the internet was first spreading the world and IT businesses were emerging, there was a movement called copyleft. Well, the idea of offering services for free is a concept from before 2004. If there was a content service created before 2004, it would have been built around the idea of offering it for free. And after that, Steve Jobs changed everything. The current business model has now far surpassed that old copyleft model by several generations. But as you all know, Has there ever been a time since the dawn of human history when people didn't flock to something that was given away for free? Everyone liked free. I know. Therefore, while free services can easily attract attention in the beginning, they are not a sustainable approach in the long run from a strategic perspective. And it's been 20 years since Steve Jobs pointed us in the right direction with the online content business model. And Netflix showed us the right way forward. How can we attract people to our platform? How do we encourage people to sign up for membership? How can we get people to make payments? This should be done not through a strategy of offering things for free, but through other attractions. In other words, the manga platform services shouldn't lure consumers to read manga for free and expect to generate traffic. They need to come up with a strong attraction. Now, the third point, which is closely related to the idea that bigger size service, is this: if possible, you should start by creating 100 serialized titles in the manga platform from the beginning. I've already mentioned that scale is matter. Among the various aspects of scale, one that I consider particularly important is having at least 100 local creators at the start. That way, you can grow the market quickly and expand rapidly, ensuring powerful growth within the golden time frame, allowing you to establish and grow the manga industry. Starting with 100 titles is roughly equivalent to about 4 manga magazines in Japan. While hearing that 100 titles are necessary may seem like a lot at first, when you consider it as the equivalent of 4 manga magazines, it suddenly feels much more manageable, right? That's why having at least 100 creators is the minimum. Back in 2001, I was serialized in a manhwa webzine in Korea that had 150 creators, which means there were ongoing 150 titles. They divided it into 3 sections, with around 50 serialized works in each section. If you plan like this, you can grow rapidly during the golden time, and the starting stage will be strong. And as I just mentioned, by having different sections, you can start your country's manga industry with a variety of manga. You need to embrace diversity from the very beginning. While diversity might develop later as the market grows, it's not an easy process. It's more challenging than you might think. What happened in the Japanese manga industry is a miracle. But if you start with various and abundant works, you can create the miracle in your hands. So, what is necessary to start on such a large scale and grow quickly? Is it essential to have many talented, aspiring manga artists in your country? Of course, they are important and necessary. That's a fact. But surprisingly, it's not absolutely essential. Talented, aspiring manga artists are not as crucial to the business as you might think. So, what is important in the manga business mind? The capital. I'm talking about capital here. I'm not referring to the money you already have. No matter how much money you possess, it's not easy to spend it. You probably won't want to pay page rates to 100 manga and webtoon artists. If you have a lot of money, be honest with yourself. Would you really spend it to give opportunities to 100 new artists? I don't think so. This is why securing investment is necessary. This is what business is all about. The core of it is securing capital. While aspiring manga artists may not have had opportunities to debut, either quantitatively or qualitatively, it is a miracle that manga artists in your country have reached such a high level of skill. It is indeed a miracle that aspiring manga artists exist around the world. Therefore, asking why can't our country be like Japan, or why do our readers only consume Japanese manga, is the wrong question. They're already doing incredibly well. They're doing great. They've been studying hard and holding on to their dream of becoming a mangaka even without a place to debut. They've held on to their dream for a long time. I want to praise aspiring manga artists around the world. For them to further improve their skills, someone needs to give them opportunities and invest in them. The capital you secure through investment for business purposes is extremely important. So, how do you attract investment from outside? You need to present investors with a grand vision. And what is a grand vision? A vision for the potential of the manga industry's rise. A vision for grand development. A vision for nurturing creators and creating employment. A vision for contributing to the cultural industry and enhancing soft power. A vision for global expansion. Whatever it may be, you need to conceive a compelling vision. Use that vision to persuade investors or the government to support your manga artists and secure investment. Then use that capital to invest in aspiring manga artists and their works. Give them opportunities, and even if they fail, give them another chance to rise again. This is precisely what happened in the Korean film industry in the 1990s, and revenue sharing needs to be favorable. Give creators a significant share of the money that readers pay. In it business, you can have an astonishing number of creators, far beyond what you could ever imagine in publishing. You can produce a lot of IP contents. The profit margin isn't crucial from the start. Surprisingly, in the content business, profit margins aren't important. Profit margins and outcomes will eventually come, but they aren't essential when you're starting and growing. Companies shouldn't try to make hefty profits through revenue sharing right from the beginning. In the content business, what the company does isn't that crucial, nor is it extensive. This is especially true in the manga industry. Maybe it's more important in the film industry, but not as much in manga. In manga, the mangakas do almost everything individually. That's why it's vital for mangakas to do well. It's crucial that mangakas find the drive for creativity. It's most important to inspire them to create amazing, successful works. It's also essential to attract a large number of quality talents into the industry. And the key to this is revenue sharing. If many artists and authors create a large number of works, the company's profit margins will eventually rise. The company's profits will come when a big hit emerges. We should strive to create big hits, like the movie Avatar. Then they shouldn't try to take a cut of the creator's labor. If they do, the number of creators, sellers, and works will all decrease, which benefits no one, not even the company. Moreover, let me tell you this, even though I haven't gone into detail yet, fair revenue sharing can have an immensely positive impact on the world. It will give you enormous power on the global stage. When you expand beyond your country's manga world to the global stage, revenue sharing will be a significant advantage for you. Now on to an important point. If you don't secure enough investment and have insufficient capital, consider producing adult rating manga.